I thought it would be great to get you on tonight. Obviously, today at 6 o'clock, we launched a video that Carla and Bonner and myself did. Carla's an amazing ambassador for what you guys are doing. Do you want to just discuss what happened with that?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Carla very much for doing that. And, you know, one of the things that's important for people to understand is that the contaminated blood scandal has thousands of victims, you know, in Australia. And those victims are those infected, but they're survivors, and there's those who are affected. And Carla's one of those. Carla lost her father to a tainted blood transfusion in 1986. Now, I've got to tell you this, really, what someone does for a job or anything like that really makes not too much difference to us, to those of us who are victims, and certainly to those of us who are affected and those of us who've lost loved ones, because you've woken up into a whole different world. It's a whole different universe. Your old life is not quite the same. It just isn't. And so, you know, like to lose your father in that way, and then, you know, for what some people might see someone like myself as a troublemaker, and sometimes the information that I've brought forward has made people sad, and I didn't intend for that to happen. My intention has been to expose what I've known for 30 years, really, that there was something that happened down here that was very, very bad. It's actually Australia's deadliest medical scandal. You know, they've had, so a lot of people died, and it's a cover-up. It is a cover-up. And as
hugely.
it's a massive cover-up. So what's happened is I've been fighting it for decades, and for long periods it's been a fight on my own, and at times. But the problem is that those others, it's the nature of our group, unfortunately. It's a bit like being involved in, you know, like the World War II, our guys fighting the Japanese. A few people don't make it, and that's what's happened with us. Also, we've been hampered by some terrible pharmaceutical drugs that have absolutely killed our group. One of them is called interferon. So not only were a lot of these people tainted blood victims, but they're also victims of pharmaceutical medicines like this interferon, which is like taking chemo for a year or so. And in many cases, it didn't cure people. Well, of course, I wasn't affected by that because I refused to take their garbage. I was lucky enough to have a sort of natural inkling, if you will, that nature was my best friend, certainly after getting my ass kicked by a tainted blood transfusion. So, yeah, I went down that direction. I'm a nature boy, right? But for those people that still had trust in the system, and there are a lot of them, and they did, they got badly re-injured again. And so what's happened is that we've had an overwhelming response because of your interviews, Matt. You've had myself, where we sort of launched this as a subject in Australia again. You basically breathed life into it. And then you had, you know, the leader of our haemophilia campaign, Greg Ball, who's got the ballsiest, most courageous man I've ever come across. I'm not just saying that. I actually mean it with full sincerity, because he is. And people will find out in the fullness of time what I mean about that. I actually asked Greg to help out because we're getting overwhelmed, right? And to have the courage to step up as a CSL victim, he's the first to really do so. First haemophiliac to recently do so in terms of the hepatitis C component of tainted blood. And then, of course, as he stepped up, Greg, you know, got liver cancer. That's part of the deal, unfortunately, tainted blood victims. So as we've done that, it's like shit. And I'm worried at that point that we're going to lose Greg. Firstly, because we know we'll lose him. So what's happened is, when Carla came around, ideally, Carla Bonner, when she came around, ideally, I actually wouldn't have asked her, because she's probably finding out that the story that may have been that her father died because of an unavoidable accident, maybe the information that maybe it wasn't the accident that she'd been led to believe, that there may have been a culture of recklessness, severe recklessness, that went on for years before her father was infected. It's just the truth that it was. It was the Wild West here. It is the truth. I invite people, by the way, to look at this timeline. We've just released it for the first time ever in Australia.
I saw that. Yeah. I'll put that up on my page tonight.
Yeah. Got attachments for those people who want fact checks. This is it, right? We did it to coincide with Carla's bravery. Thank you so much, Carla, for what you're doing for us. You'll bring attention. Thank you, Matt. You started it. Now and now you've given an audience to Greg, a CSL victim. So this is the thing. What's happened is we've been overwhelmed. We've got over 2,000 people. Even, you know, the other day we had 70 people rain down the forms, our support forms. Come and support us. Support a Royal Commission into Australia's contaminated blood scandal. Let's get answers for Carla Bonner. Let's find out if her father's death was the accident that she was told, or that was it due to this Wild West culture. go to that
Yep.
timeline yourselves.
I'll definitely put the timeline up after this because it shows exactly what happened through the years and how big a cover-up this has been, of course.
Missed opportunities. They were infecting people all the time. Carla's father might not have had to pass away if they had taken more, basically taken safety more seriously. So they're killing people for years. It's madness, right? It's just the truth. It is. So
it is, yeah. And I
Carla,
think the big prevalence of what's happening, because you said you had around 2,000 people signing up. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Once this really gets going.
From your audience, think about your audience. Can I just say also to your audience, can I just say, wow, absolutely incredible. And to those people that did sign up, I know that we've had a lot of victims in that 2000, right? Can I just say to you, please, thank you, first of all, for getting in contact with us, right? And please bear with us because actually we're a small team here and we've got cancer in our group, okay? And I've been a career veteran of the contaminated blood wars worldwide. I've got mates who are part of the Canadian action 30 years ago. In fact, my mentor was the famous tainted blood campaigner from Canada, James Krepner, who we lost 12 years ago. He was one of the originals, and I've been helping them fight it, and all around the world. I pretty much, that's what I've been up to all these years. And the reason we haven't got anywhere down here is because we've got the world's biggest blood plasma company, CSL, and they're also the world's largest.
They won't let anything get out there. That's it.
Yeah, and they're also the manufacturer of the coming COVID-19 vaccine that they're possibly going to be subjecting us all to. And by the way, if you want to have choice when it comes to that, support our form, fill in that form.
Yep.
And that's your best way to do that. We want options for people, especially after what we've been through. So I just want to go back to that point about Carla Bonner.
Yep. I'll quickly just get the guys. Can someone type in down the bottom? So it's www.infectedbloodaustralia.com. No AU at the end.
That's right.
Drop that in the bottom here. And when I put up the timeline later on, I'll put it in the story so you can swipe up and sign up as well. Cool.
Well, maybe someone that could type for me. I'm a bit of a 1980s boy. I'm not very good typing when I'm on the phone, but yeah. But we'll get the.
We're getting typed up. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Now. And the other thing I was going to say is, I'm going to put out an extension to you as well. We run a group called the United Collective. If you're getting swamped, shout out and we'll help you out as well.
Can I just say that would be huge? Because here's the joke of it, right? For many years, because the whole thing is about keeping the information from the public so that you don't find out that CSL's got victims, and they do. They killed 1,400 people in this country with their previous blood products, and they've still not been investigated. Come on, come on, guys. Seriously, we've got to have a possible mandatory vaccine made from these people. No, please don't put yourself. Not going to have, but please, the thing about Carla was right. So, from my perspective, I'm thinking, well, first of all, I've got to have consideration from her as being affected by this. Okay, that's been the fact. So for me, it's a difficult one because it's great that she has a profile that she does. That's for my cause. But on the other hand, I also worry for her, right? And that's the first responsibility. Okay, so we have to for each other first, because we do after what we've been through. So for her to do this, ideally, I wouldn't have asked her to step up so soon for us. Ideally, right? But I've had to because Greg Ball, I've asked him to step up. In fact, what I'm asking for now is it can't be just one person. I mean, one of the instigators of the UK inquiry was a fabulous lady called Lynn Kelly, who I had the privilege of meeting, Lynn Kelly in Wales. And she said to me, the first thing she said to me almost was, you can't do this alone. And for so long, at times, I have had to do this alone, right? For one reason or other, people being pretty ill at times when I wasn't. So I fought with all this period. But now I want to say to victims, and there's a lot in your audience who've contacted me, we are going to get back to you. Please have faith.
100%.
We're going to have new voices now. I'm always going to be a supporter. I'm always going to be a supporter of this cause, but it's the right thing. Fresh faces, new people. Let's all take over the...
Let's put out a call out, because one thing that Carla mentioned, which was really prevalent, is if you've got a parent or a loved one that's had HIV, there's been a stigma involved with HIV and Hep C. Whoever's on here watching, if you've had a parent, you've had a loved one that's died from HIV or Hep C complications, don't feel any stigma or shame. Now is the time to step up and come and speak to us, because we will investigate it fully. And there's no shame. There's no shame at all, because everyone thought of those diseases as being sexually transmitted and this and that. But if you had a blood transfusion anytime in the 80s, and early 90s, there's a big chance that this CSL tainted blood has been put through into the system. So don't worry, no shame, no fear, just step up and talk.
Don't have any shame for one big reason too, and it goes like this. Authorities haven't been honest with you. CSL have a duty of candour, and they've not been candid. They knew that that blood product that killed 1,400 haemophiliacs was contaminated. Have a look at the timeline. 1978. It came here years after it was in operation in the UK. And in 1974, in fact, you look at the timeline, they knew people were getting infected over there with this stuff, right? Lord David Owen, on Tuesday in the UK, there's going to be potentially explosive evidence. As a former health minister comes up in the UK and he says it is a cover-up. He's going to confirm that, and he's going to do it formally, and it is a cover-up in the UK. He's talking about this product factor rate and how they knew it was infecting people in the 70s. They should have been self-sufficient. They should have been doing lots of things like to make this blood supply safe. They didn't, because it seems that money was involved or something terrible. So I want to mention this too. So that's Tuesday. Okay, so it's all happening.
So we'll watch for that, and I'll get you to send me that as soon as it comes off the press.
Oh, you wait till you see this, right? You'll rate your instincts, Matt, for picking this up. And that's why I can't wait to give you that medal from our charity for all that you've done for us, because your instincts, and that's the truth. It's actually for your gut instinct, because we get silenced. We just get cut down, shut up for decades, and we died. People died in that silence, right? And another thing I want to say, you gave an audience to Greg Ball, the leader of our haemophilia campaign. Well, as a result, we'd like to offer you something. You don't have to agree here. I mean, it might be a bad idea, but Greg Ball's a tough man, right? He is a tough man, and I reckon that Greg Ball should be the one to deliver evidence that he's got, which clearly shows that CSL have done something absolutely atrocious, and that they were less honest about that. And he'd like to do it live. Maybe we could get a special camera or something, and he'll show your audience live what they were doing and why he live. We've got a special present, a special document. Think of it like a boxing match. CSL have been versus victims for decades. They've been kicking the hell out of us, right? Absolutely. We've been dying. They've been getting rich, absolute stinking rich, $140 billion company. And you didn't get to hear about this, because if you did, have a look at that timeline. Have a look at what they did in 1994 when they got privatized. They got indemnified. What's the next thing that happened? They all got rich. Well, Greg haemophiliacs got dead and got sick. So guess what Greg Ball's going to do? He's going to have a bout. It's going to be CSL victims versus CSL live. Now, we're not doing anything illegal. Oh, no, we're law-abiding, peaceful people. Yes, we are. But let me tell you something. My prediction is when Greg Ball, head of our haemophilia campaign, goes up against CSL, if you're watching, any idea that they're going to forcibly give us a COVID-19 vaccine injection without answering these questions about their role in Australia's deadliest contaminated blood scandal, that's going to get knocked out live on air. My prediction is Greg Ball is going to knock CSL spark out on air. If you watch
100%.
Okay?
Yep, we'll get him on for sure.
Maybe Carla Bonner could help present it, and we could use some of her fan base to, really show that, make this a big event, a special event, because we've got people dying here without help. We need that help right now. And if there are volunteers out here, we need you now. We need people who've got counselling experience, anybody at all, any psychological experience dealing with PTSD, please.
We've got that. Yep, I've definitely got those people ready. Yep.
That's the number one thing we need. In the UK, they're finding out that now that it's not just the infected people, okay? We've got to understand we've got thousands of victims who've had tainted blood transfusions in Australia. People infected from tainted blood transfusions in the 70s, people in the 80s, and people right into the 90s. There's people in your audience that were infected in the late 90s who got in touch. You should see that we're getting. It's incredible. It's so sad. I'm reading them all, right? So, yeah.
It's their families, because their families are affected just as, not as much, but the mental anguish of losing a loved one to something like this is out of this.
I found out the biggest thing, what the biggest thing in? The biggest thing of all is PTSD and the loved ones. And the thing is, the victims, yes, they do know, they might not know, but they're so busy being sick. And look, what can they do? Financially ruined, man. Everyone's lost their homes, their marriages, fucking everything. And you got to look after someone who's got PTSD, who's able-bodied when they're sick. The PTSDs run right through. Let me tell you, in the children, it's massive. Now, I'm not saying, of course, Carla Bonner is a very strong person. Yeah. And she, she's done a lot to get strong. She's a coach. People could benefit from her, and we hope to benefit as a group from her. That's why I've asked her, why I'm so thankful for her, that we could use her strength to help us. Yes, she's affected by the contaminated blood scandal. You know, yes, she is. But yes, I'm so bloody happy because we need her. We're desperate. We have to get her help because we have to ask her, because we've got that thing with so many people with PTSD. The kids, by the way, we've got in our group a lot of women who got Hep C from tainted blood given during childbirth. Well, of course, the kids, if they find out later on, they shouldn't do, but they end up blaming themselves. And some of them have lost mothers, right? And they end up not talking to the rest of their relatives. They're out there. If you're there tonight, I've seen that message, right? And if you're, I've seen what you wrote to me, okay? And I promise you this, we're coming. This is why I've asked. It won't be long now, please. And so thank you, Matt, for giving us this chance. I truly mean that.
We'll definitely get the counsellors and things involved as well. As I said, we'll pop up your timeline after this is finished with a swipe up to infectedbloodaustralia.com. And then we'll get Greg on maybe early next week after the Tuesday announcement. We'll get Greg on and we'll chuck it all out there.
Let's do Greg Ball, CSL victims versus CSL, what, next week or whenever you suggest, right? Let's get it on. And I promise to anybody who watches live, watch, because we'll produce the evidence that we believe might knock CSL. Any chance of them forcibly making you do anything will be knocked out on this very program.
100%. Charles, thank you so much again. You're a warrior. And I said to people today, I put up a post and I didn't really link it with this, but it's 100% linked with this. And I put up a post that just says no fear. And that's what we all need to do. No fear. Come from a place of love, come from a place of peace and strength.
I get strength from you, from what your reaction. I mean, look at that. We did this. We got such a huge reaction. That takes the fear away straight away. Join us and we'll take the fear away together, because you helped take mine away, Matt. The more people keep coming on. Greg Ball, see that man's strength. By the way, that interview you did with him, that's the best thing I've seen in Pain of Blood in 30 years. So thank you very much.
Amazing people. You're all amazing human beings.
Please watch Carla's interview, everybody. Please watch that Carla Bonner interview. It's incredible. And I really agree with her about, would you take a flight, you know, on aboard an airline that had lost 1,800 or whatever, 1,750 passengers, if you had to get on? You know, don't ask questions. There's no black box. There's no flight record. It's, you know, Aeroflop or something, whatever. No way. No way, man. Come on. All right.
100%. Thank you so much again, Charles. And I'm sure we'll be staying in touch. And Tuesday, drop that info to me and I'll put it up straight away.
Oh, I will be. See you, Matt. See you guys.
Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
How amazing is Charles? So we need to remember, after this, I'm going to put up the video. It'll have a swipe up to go to infectedbloodaustralia.com. No fear. We're coming from a place of love and strength. And these guys have a symbol, which is two swords crossed like that. And that's what it's about. It's about coming from here, a warrior. All of us are warriors together. So let's go from worrying to being warriors. And all of us can change this world. All of us. So I'm going to put this up now, and I'll put up the swipe up so you can get to it, and we'll go forwards from here and share it to as many people as you can. Peace.